In today's Leeds news, Bamford frozen out, 96 points needed for promotion. Another day, another keeper linked. PGMOL Williams review and Preston absentees for Leeds clash. Morning folks, Cher here at The View on Thursday morning, the 10th of April with your Leeds United news. I hope you've had a good week so far. It's slim pickings news-wise on the ground, but there is some stuff to get stuck into and an interesting link to a goalkeeper. We'll cover the transfer stuff in the middle, but it's a far more credible link than recent weeks. There will be a match preview for the Preston North End game tonight. That could go a little bit earlier than normal, but keep an eye out for that. I'm just trying to lock down some people to have a chat with before that game. But we'll start off with today's news, and we'll start off with the Patrick Bamford story that came out via LUTV. And speaking to LUTV after the Middlesbrough game, Jermaine Beckford has given his opinion on the returning Patrick Bamford and the impact he had and could have for the remainder of this season. Now, I know we all go through this process with Patrick Bamford. We start off getting excited about what he could potentially do. Then we all get annoyed because he hasn't done it. And then we all want him sold because he's picked up another injury. But his two cameos so far in his return this time around have shown that he could have some impact, and his runs and the type of runs that he makes could give Leeds something different than they've currently got in the squad. Bamford's intelligent run for Willie Gnonto to slip him in, followed by a tidy finished, showed that Bamford's different style of approach to Joe Piru could actually benefit Leeds and might actually start to bring the likes of Willie Gnonto and Brendan Aronson more into the game. The big factor on this will be whether Pat Bamford can stay fit and in shape, and the run-in could be interesting for Pat. He might just get his big moment at Leeds before the end of this season. What was interesting though in what Jermaine Beckford said in his piece in LUTV after the game was kind of hidden in the detail. Beckford claimed that Bamford had been frozen out at Leeds, and the full quote from Jermaine Beckford reads as follows: "I feel for Pat, he's had a really torrid season, injuries, left out, frozen out, not quite fully fledged part of the squad, so when he gets his chance like today, he gives it his all. He and Gnonto come on to combine for a brilliant team counter-attacking goal. And when you watch it back, the movement was pinpoint, the pass was perfectly timed, and the run was perfect. But it was ruled out for offside. Such a disappointment that the linesman let us down." I'm not sure I would have gone as far as to say that Bamford had been frozen out by Leeds. I think it's more of a case of trusting in the player's injury record, which is substantial at this point at key parts of the season, and potentially risking him. Leeds wanted to get Pat back to 100% fully fit this season before they used him. That didn't happen, unfortunately, as he's one of the Bielsa players whose body appears to have been just broken down after the years of work under Marcelo. But maybe Beckford knows a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But either way, Leeds will need every single available player for the run-in, and Bamford could have a major part to play this season. Also, a quick reminder, if you want to see Jermaine Beckford in action on May 10th at the Carlisle Grounds in Bray, County Wicklow, Ireland, the Leeds Legends will take on the Borough Legends. Tickets for that game are available via Eventbrite, as well as a chance to meet the players as well. Kits have all been confirmed for that and they're ready to go. It's the last run-in, and we'll have one of the lads on next week to give us more detail about the final preparations for that game. Ticket link down below for Eventbrite if you want to go to that game. I'll be there myself. Look forward to chatting to a couple of people. But let's move on and talk about a piece in the Yorkshire Evening Post today around Leeds' promotion points tally that will be needed to get up. And in a piece in the YEP today, Joe Donoghue has taken the time to look at what Leeds will need to do if they want to finish the job this season. Leeds have 5 games remaining in the Championship season, 3 of them at home, starting this weekend against Preston. Then they have Stoke at home, followed then by Bristol City. Leeds 2 away games this season. The remainder of this season will come away to Oxford United, and then the final day trip down to Plymouth. As Joe points out in his piece, Leeds' home record is the best in the division, but after recent performances at home, Leeds will need to get that back on track, and nothing can be taken or should be taken for granted. In the piece, Joe says that judging by the remaining opponents and their collective away form, Leeds can take some solace in the likelihood that Leeds should be able to take the lion's share of the points at this stage. Assuming Leeds' home encounters this month go to plan and Leeds can pick up 3 wins, or even to pick up 2 wins and a draw, Leeds would end up on a 94 point maximum with home wins and 92 with 2 home wins and a draw. This isn't taking into account the away games, but that would take us past last season's total. With Sheffield United and Burnley both having to play each other, that means that collectively the two of them cannot get maximum points, and Leeds will need 11 points from the remaining 5 games to guarantee promotion. Doesn't sound like an awful lot, but I think Leeds picked up 4 points in their last 6 games at the back end of last season. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was around that. It wasn't a great points tally coming into the back end. So the fact that we've got that important away win against Middlesbrough, a big win this weekend, would also help that situation as well. So still work to do, but 11 points doesn't sound like an awful lot. But again, we're at that point of the season where form kind of goes out the window and pressure kicks in and takes hold. But let's move on. Let's talk about another goalkeeper link. And this channel covers Leeds United news and Leeds United rumours as well. So if transfer news is not your thing, you can skip on about 2 minutes to the next story. But we will be continuing to cover transfer stories and news on this channel as we have done for the past 3 years. But the goalkeeper that's been linked today comes from a slightly more credible source, and Nick Pope's name has been floating around the Leeds United news sphere, I suppose, for the last couple of weeks. But today there's a bit more credibility to it. Newcastle have been linked with a move for a new goalkeeper this summer, which means that Nick Pope's long-term future at the club is very much up in the air, and the player himself is out of contract at the end of next season, meaning with 12 months to go, there could be a discounted price available. Pope has played a big part for Newcastle in the last couple of years. He missed a portion of this season through injury, but did play a very big part in Newcastle United's first trophy win in 70 years over at Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, and he is set to remain as their number one until the end of this season. The YEP claims today that Pope has been targeted by Leeds United as a Meslier replacement this summer, as Newcastle are targeting a move for Burnley goalkeeper James Trafford. Leeds' chances of signing a goalkeeper of the calibre of Nick Pope will 100% rest on promotion to the Premier League, but if they can get over the line, and if they can get this done, there will likely be a lot more interest in a goalkeeper of Nick Pope's standard. But if Leeds could get him, this would be a very, very, very good goalkeeper to add to the squad next season. A calming goalkeeper, and one that's not all about the headlines, good or bad, and just gets on with the job. And I think that's the kind of goalkeeper Leeds will need moving forward. One that you just don't have to worry about and just gets on with his job, saves the things he should save, and maybe the odd spectacular one here and there, but does the basics of the job well and consistently. So, interesting one to keep an eye on there. I'd love to know your thoughts on Nick Pope. We've heard Ramsdale, Petrovic and Ledesma in recent days mentioned with Leeds, but what are your thoughts on a potential move for Nick Pope? The PGMOL will look to review Darren Williams' performance after the weekend's game, but nothing special in this at all. After some scathing reviews almost universally across media, ex-referees and pundits alike, his performance against Middlesbrough and previous performances in Leeds games, Darren Williams is now set for a PGMOL standard review. Daniel Farkas said at the weekend that he struggled to comprehend the past decisions of Williams, and it said at some point the PGMOL need to protect this referee and just send him to a different game. The standard review process, which is what Darren Williams will enter into here, runs as follows. Each game is reviewed by the Select Group 2 management team, which assesses the decisions that have been made by officials who are just below the top tier ranking of officials. Good decisions and incorrect calls are fed back to officials, and feedback is then given to them individually as well as in a group environment. Williams will then go through an advanced training course to improve his issues, but there's no mention in this at all about the potential of the linesman being stood down this weekend. I don't advocate for trying to get people sacked from their jobs, because ultimately they are a job, and if this is your career, there's not a whole lot else you can do outside of this. But I do believe stepping the official down or moving him down a level will be needed. Ex-Premier League referee Mark Clattenburg said after the mistake against Middlesbrough that the linesman is clearly not at the standard that's needed right now. So a move down to League 1 or League 2 would probably make the most sense, keeps him in a job and keeps him away from these kind of games that are high value games at this point of the season. As Daniel Farke has already alluded to, hundreds of millions of pounds on offer right now. And then move on to the final story of the day relating to Preston's team lineup coming into the weekend's action. And we will have a proper live stream tonight to preview the game. But ahead of the weekend's action against Preston North End, we have some Preston will have some absentees to deal with, as well as a loanee dropping out. Sam Greenwood will not be allowed to be in the matchday squad for Preston North End. The Leeds loanee started his loan at Preston in really impressive form, but as the season has gone on, Greenwood has fallen down the pecking order and is on the bench currently for Preston, and his season has kind of faded out a little bit. Greenwood has 8 goal contributions in 36 games for Preston, the bulk of them coming in the early part of his loan. Leeds will also welcome former Leeds United manager Paul Heckingbottom back to Ellen Road this weekend, and he will have to deal with some other significant absentees. Goalkeeper Freddie Woodman is out of this game and is likely to leave the club at the end of the season as well. But they will also be without Jack Watmow as well as Ali McCann coming into the game. The big factor for this game is the early kickoff factor, and Saturday's early kickoff for Leeds will need to see Leeds improve on their record with early 12:30 kickoffs. The form hasn't exactly been brilliant for Leeds this season, so that's the first thing. Sheffield United will kick off at the exact same time as Leeds United as they travel away to Plymouth, Leeds hosts for the final game of the season. But both sides will know what they need to do coming into this game, as Burnley kick off Friday night against Norwich City, and it will be a very, very big game for them. Sheffield United on the back of 2 defeats in a row, and Burnley, after a slip up last week, can they get their form back on track, or will they draw again to Norwich? It could be another big weekend in the run into the season, an important weekend of action. Again, we will have a live stream watch along over on bigup.com. If you want to come over and join me there, you can for the game at the weekend. We'll keep an eye on the other games as well. Folks, that will be it for me this morning. Back tonight with a preview of the Preston North End game. Hope to see you then. Otherwise, outside that, check out the information down below for the Leeds Legends game taking place on May 10th in the Carlisle grounds in Bray, County Wicklow, Ireland. Definitely worth getting to. And I'll see you later on. Talk to you then. Mind yourself. Bye.